it's Sari from Coaching Helping Minds. I'm just going to hang on a second to see if anyone's around. Just got a quick question that I wanted to answer that I've been asked many, many times, but I've been asked this again recently. Let me just see that I'm in the right place. So yeah, say hi if you're there. If anybody pops up. Just hang on a moment, see if anyone's around. Oh, I think somebody's around. Say hi if you're there so I can see who's there. I'm just sharing onto my main page. Okay. Won't be long. So what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to answer this question. Anxiety. How do I stop worrying and overthinking everything? So I'm going to answer that in a minute for you. Say hello. Hi, Louise. Nice to see you with your posh nails. Okay, so if anyone is there, if anyone's watching, yesterday I did a video and there was so many people online. It was great because I got asked loads of questions, so it would really help everybody else because I was able to answer their questions. So I believe that the best way to get more people is if people share the video when it's on live. So I would really appreciate it if anybody is happy to do so, just to share it so that we might get other people joining us. Okay, so I'm going to answer the question in a moment. So yes, it would be fab if anybody would be happy to share it, and then we'll get more people. Okay. So I'm going to go on to answer this in a minute. For those of you that don't know me, I'm trained as a psychotherapist. I am a coach and I specialise in anxiety because it's something that I am only too familiar with and have suffered with in the past previously. Okay, so how do I stop worrying and overthinking everything? So how do you stop worrying? Well, the long and short of that is you don't. Okay. So just bear with me. And the reason you don't stop worrying is because worrying is part of human nature. We all worry. Some people define themselves as worriers. Some people say, I don't worry about anything. But the truth of the matter is, no matter on what level or to what degree, we all worry. Simple as that. And so once we realize, or once we accept that we worry, we can then start to become okay with it. And by that, what I mean is, if you are worrying about 3 things, for example, or say you're worried about your child for some reason, or you're worried about work, or you're worried about your relationship, whatever you're worried about, okay, it's normal to have worries. We all have things that we worry about. And once we figure one thing out, and we kind of think, right, we'll get rid of that worry, then what's going to happen is there's going to be another worry, because something else is going to happen. Because actually, realistically, although life can be fabulous, it can also be pretty crap at times, and there are things that we worry about. So we all worry. It's part of human nature. But there's a difference between worrying about stuff and knowing that we have worries and it's part of human nature, to literally lying awake in bed at night going over 1,000,001 things and 1,000,001 worries. Like, that's excessive worrying, and that's not comfortable and that's not nice, and we don't really need to do that. We are going to worry. We don't have to worry excessively. Same with anxiety. We are all going to get anxious. It's part of human nature. It's a normal feeling, but we don't need to be anxious to the point where it stops us living our life. That's the difference, and that's what I help people with, is those extremes. And so one of the biggest shifts for me in my life in terms of my relationship with anxious feelings was, in fact, there was 2 main things, okay, and this is what I now help other people to get to grips with. But the 2 main things, one was realizing fully that anxious feelings, or any kind of feelings, come 100% of the time from our thinking. So we are experiencing every single feeling that we have through our thoughts. And that changed things for me. Okay. The second thing was about becoming comfortable with the discomfort of certain feelings and certain thoughts. That was a huge game changer for me, because I spent a lot of my time being anxious about getting anxious, being worried about getting worried, being worried about what I might have to worry about in a month's time that I don't know about yet. Okay. All of the stuff that is completely unnecessary. Okay. So what I had to learn was that if I could be comfortable with some level of discomfort, because in life there is discomfort, things happen that we don't want to happen, things crop up that we don't want to crop up. We can have thoughts that come completely randomly from nowhere that we can't control that make us feel uncomfortable. And what's what then happens is that once you realize that there's some level to be comfortable with some level of discomfort, it just completely changes everything, because the less you fear all of this stuff, the less it just shows up naturally. Someone's put their CBD on. Yeah, not something I've had. It probably does help people. I don't know. I won't be able to comment. There's lots of things out there that people help. And one of the things I teach people or show people in my presentation is, at the events that I do, is I literally tried everything. I can't even tell, the list is ridiculous. And I spent thousands, I hate to even think how much money on trying to fix myself. And really, what really changed it for me was the understanding that everything comes from the inside out and it's generated through our thought. So oils, essential oils, CBD oils, relaxation, meditation, all of that stuff, if it works, brilliant. But things would always work for me for a certain period of time, then I might get stressed, and then what would happen is it would be like nothing was working anymore, or it only worked for a certain amount of time, then it stopped working, because I was presuming it was all these things making me better, rather than actually it was from up here and from me being able to reduce the amount of overthinking that I'm doing. So although stuff on the outside can help us, of course it can, there's no better way to change your life than understanding how human nature works, because we're all innately, we're born, we're not born anxious. We are not born worrying about absolutely everything. So actually, this is all stuff that's, it's habit. Anxiety is effectively a habit of a real bad habit of overthinking everything. So it's about, once we understand how human nature works and that innately we've got this, we're all right. People in my groups all the time messaging me with things that they've just done. They've just managed to do stuff that they didn't think they could do. And it's like, almost a bit like, oh yeah, of course I can do that. And my body takes care of me. Things that we don't need to over plan for absolutely everything. And we can try, but we still can't control what happens, because stuff happens. So I just wanted to share that how do you stop worrying and overthinking? Well, you don't really, but not to the point where it takes over your life. That's not okay. That is really not okay. It does not have to happen. I get it, been there, and as I say, tried everything. And really all I needed to do was understand more about human nature and how it works, and get some insights into my own life to then settle and slow down my thinking. I'm struggling so much with anxiety. It's taken over my life. I've fibromyalgia too. Yeah, I think the two are massively linked. Like, I've worked with hundreds of people with anxiety, and I'd say a high percentage of people have that. I'm not saying it's the cause, but I definitely say it would make it worse. Because you're tense and you're stressed and all of that sort of stuff. Definitely need help with it. What do you recommend? Understanding these three principles. If you send me a message, I will send you some links to have a look at. Have a look at my previous videos. I do an event every so often. The next one's in July. It's online and it's £10 per person, and I explain the three principles that I used to everybody on there. But they're not mine. They're not something I came up with. They're something that's been out there for a long, long time. But it's just, people go to the doctors with stress and anxiety and they get offered CBT because that's what the doctors offered for however long. Again, I'm not saying that doesn't work for people. It didn't work for me. For some people, CBT can be great. But often a lot of these things that come from the outside of, like, these things are making us better, can often be fairly short-lived, because we feel like it's just that those things making us better, and then suddenly something else happens externally, and then we feel like we can't do anything about that. And so actually, it's really about understanding that it does come internally. So no matter what life throws at you, no matter what, because again, I'm not sat here saying, oh, let's all look at life positively and wonderful. It can be absolutely crap at times. But once you understand human nature and that you are able to tackle everything with a much calmer outlook, it just makes life so much easier. So send me a message, Claire, and I will send you some links and stuff like that to have a look. It's called The Three Principles, the thing that I coach, by Sydney Banks. There's lots of coaches that do it. Again, you can Google and go on YouTube and find out some stuff, or you can get support and help from someone like myself who can kind of hold your hand a bit through it, really. But it's no big secret. It's out there. Okay, so I just wanted to answer that and let everybody know that, you know, just be okay with the fact that you have worries, because you'll have less worries that way. Yeah, worries and thoughts come in layers. So you might have a worry of, okay, I don't know, I've got a presentation at work tomorrow. Okay, there's one level. Lisa, you've had CBT. How did you find it? Just out of interest. So there's one level there of, you know, oh, I've got a presentation, I'm a bit nervous. Okay, that's fine. That's a normal worry. People who have presentations might worry. Some will, some won't. Okay, so there's a normal worry. The thought will come. Oh no, I'm a bit nervous. That thought will go, because that's what thoughts do. They're transient. They come and they go. They come and they go. It's us holding on to the thoughts that keeps the thoughts there. It's us holding on to them. No problem, Claire. It's us holding on to them that makes it so much worse. And when I say holding on to it, what I mean is naturally we drop thoughts. But what I mean is, so you go, oh, there's a presentation and I'm a bit nervous, rather than just going, okay, well, I'm a bit nervous. Like, that's okay. I'll be all right. It's just that thing about trusting in yourself. Or you could go, right, okay, let me work out everybody that's in that room. Okay, what are they like? Well, they're not too judgmental. They're a bit of a, oh, I'm not really keen on them, but I'll just try and ignore them. Okay, and then, okay, my presentation is an hour long. So once I get past that first half hour, I'll be da-da-da-da. And then what I'm going to do after that, and what I might do is if I have porridge for breakfast, then I definitely won't have a rumbling stomach, and I'll probably feel much calmer. And then, and then after the presentation's out of the way, I can just relax. Then I can just go back to being myself and blah, blah, blah. And you see how the layers can pile and pile and pile and pile. And because thoughts create feelings, the more of these nervous, anxious thinking thoughts that you're having, that you're piling onto, that you're trying to figure out, you're creating much more fear in terms of your feelings, rather than just learning to let the thoughts go, and then the feelings stay at bay as well. So just wanted to share that. There's loads of other videos on the page. Have a look back through my other videos, because this is what I talk about all the time. It did help, but difficult to use consistently. Yes, and that's the thing, Lisa. These things do help, and I've had loads of people as a psychotherapist come to me that have had CBT, and it's helped for a while. And it's tools and it's techniques. But the great thing about these principles, and the reason I know that it changed my life, is because it was the first time ever that I was given permission to go, do you know what? I don't have to do anything, because innately this is how I work. But what's happening is all this me trying so hard to fix myself and trying so hard to get things right, that was keeping me in that cycle. And I don't need to try anything. So as I was saying a minute ago, you know, oh, I've got a presentation, I'm nervous. That thought's going to come. It's not going to stay there forever. It's going to pass. That's how thoughts work. They pass. But if you hold on to it, and the way you hold on to it is by questioning and trying to work it all out and figure it all out, it keeps it there. Whereas actually, if you don't do anything, you can notice that it's there and think, well, okay, I'm nervous. Maybe, you know, it's understandable. That's it. But I get that it kind of takes a bit of practice to just go back to our very natural way of being, which we've somehow lost along the way. So yeah, so I'm glad it helped. And, you know, again, there's no harm in any of this stuff, but what comes up time and time again, and everybody that contacts me and does my courses with me, there's always one similar theme through. They've tried loads of stuff, and that's part of it. Like, you've tried everything. I've tried this and I'm trying so hard. And what starts to change for these people is they get really frustrated at times by me going, you don't have to do anything. That will come, that will go. You don't have to do anything. And what I'm trying to do is bring them right back down to the natural way of being. And sometimes, yeah, but what do we do? Don't just keep listening to what I'm saying. Just keep listening and learning about human nature and how it works. And I say it's almost like magic. Obviously it isn't, But it's like you start listening, you start realizing that all of a sudden, and then I've got people saying to me, oh, I've done this, I've not done it for 3 years, I felt fine. Yeah, of course. Oh, I did this, or I wanted to, I'm worried when I go to child's school for this, or, and I've done it. And I was a little bit anxious, but then it went, because what's happening is they're starting to realize that thoughts are transient, and they're starting to realize that they're going to be okay. So they're not holding on to them for as long. So they might get anxious, and then it passes very, very quickly. So I just wanted to share that, and I hope everyone's all right. Oh, hello, Claire. You okay, lovey? Hi, Denise. Okay, so yeah, anyone that mentioned, was it? I can't remember who it was. Somebody up there was going to message me. Message me. I'll message you back. No problem at all. And I'll also pop a link in here now of anyone that wants to do one of the events, which are the cheapest option that I have in terms of teaching you about the principles. It's £10 for the 2-hour session. Hi, Shani Panny. Okay. So yeah, so I put the link in there and I'll put it at the top as well. So thank you so much. And yeah, as I say, anyone, oh, good, Claire. Yeah, anyone that's watching, best way for me to get more people on here is to just please share the videos, because, you know, I want to have lots of people asking me questions, because I talk about this stuff all the time. It's like second nature. So I sometimes forget where everybody's at and what people want to hear. So the more questions I get, the better I can do for you in videos. But if there's not many people on there, then I won't get questions. No problem, Lisa, not a problem at all. Okay, so give it a share for me, and I will catch up with you I have bad head anxiety. Okay, Denise. I'll just touch on that now before I go. Everybody defines their anxiety in different ways. So some people say they have health anxiety, some people say OCD, whatever it is, but it's all the same thing. It all comes from lots of overthinking. It all comes from anxious thinking. But what happens is that starts to create feelings, and that then starts to create physical symptoms. And for some people, it'll be manifest in the head. For some people, it'll be in the throat or the chest area. For some people, it'll be in their legs. It's amazing where it gets to, but it's different for absolutely everybody. But the good news is, oh, health. Okay, yeah, it's everybody that's anxious to some degree has health anxiety, because it's part of human nature when we're worrying to worry about, I suppose, the vessel that's carrying us around in this life. It's the same thing. Whatever we're worrying about, it's the same thing. So again, if it's something that you really struggle with, if you can make it on one of my events on the dates, I'll put the link there, it'll help, you know, it'll help no end. You know, I would never have used to say I would have health anxiety, but as soon as I'd start overthinking, you know, I would be like, oh, I've got a bit of a headache, I wonder what that is, or I've got this, or I've got that. And it does manifest in that way, but you know, it doesn't matter what the name of it is, it all comes from the same thing. We don't have any anxious feeling whatsoever without anxious thoughts. So it 100% comes from the thoughts initially. And that's what's creating then those feelings, and that's what's then creating sensations in our body, because we're putting so much adrenaline into our body. Of course it feels funny. If someone was sat next to me here now and I injected them with a load of adrenaline, their hands would be shaking, their head would feel probably quite fuzzy, their heart would be pounding. It would be horrible. And that's what we're doing to ourselves through our thinking, because we're sending a message to our brain that's saying, oh, something's not right here, and it's cycle. But again, you know, keep watching. I've got other videos on the page, and also if you can make the event, I'll cover all of that in there. And I'm not saying this to kind of discount anybody's experience, but honestly, the reason it's all covered in the presentation is because it's the same things every single time that everybody, myself included, experience. We experience it differently in our own way. There's so many themes that we think, oh, it's something wrong with me, it's very specifically me, and it absolutely isn't. It all amounts to the same thing. So take care, and I hope you're enjoying the sunshine. For those of you that have still got lots of sunshine, we've been very, very lucky. And I will catch up with you all very soon. Thanks very much.